Well, good morning guys, Wandering Beast here, and it is a frigid day in Central Oregon. I almost made it home last night, decided to pull off in the BLM as I've done a couple times before, and just like before, I'm kind of dragging my feet. I've already heard a couple of sirens. I'm not too far from the highway, and we had a good amount of freezing rain last night. It didn't actually freeze till about midnight, so I was able to get off the road in time. However, it froze all night, and then this morning we got a little dusting of snow, and it's not great condition. So I'm kind of dragging my feet. I don't know why I'm having cold coffee. Not sponsored, Black Rifle. However, it was in the cooler, and it was just easy this morning. But what I thought I would do is take an opportunity to talk about the hydronic heater. The diesel hydronic heater. You guys have been waiting for this video for almost a year. We started putting this in last January. And it's something I was really excited about. Now, my bus had already come with a rear heater, so I've got heater lines coming all the way to the back. And I had cut those off because the thing didn't work. It leaked everywhere. It was a little janky. But I knew going forward that I wanted a way to preheat the coolant in my engine so that the 7.3 had an easier way of starting, as well as running that through a calorifier, which is kind of a coil system inside of a little water tank. So you're using the engine heat and or now the diesel heater to heat my hot water. And that's what we're doing next. Today's video is just going to be about the diesel hydronic heater because of such great success I've had with the little Chinese diesel heater that we've talked about ad nauseum over this channel. In fact, the last video we talked about was the #1 upgrade I would do to all of them, hands down, is that proper aluminum fuel cell. And I'll put up a video up here. I still think that's the best thing you can do to these things. Otherwise, run them full board and enjoy them, you know, quick, easy, beautiful, dry heat. They're fantastic. However, I knew I wanted a hydronic heater to heat the bus, to make the hot water. So, unfortunately, nothing is on Amazon that ticks that box unless you're going to spend well over $1,000. The difference between the air heater and the hydronic is you're going to have to splice in where your heater lines go, where your coolant lines, that makes hot water, that makes your blower in your truck already blow hot air. You're going to splice that in. It comes with an actual water pump itself to help with circulation, and that diesel fired will then heat up and circulate that engine coolant. It's a fantastic little system, but I had to go to Alibaba or AliExpress. I'm not sure. If I find it and I remember, I'll put a link down below. But it was something like $340. Well under the $1,000 price tag. And with such success, I knew going forward, let's give it a shot. I've had such good success with the other one. Let's at least see. For $300, maybe it's a bad experiment. So first thing we did, kind of open up the box, kind of got familiar with all the parts, and then I got to building the bracket. Made a quick little bracket, welded some stuff onto the frame so that I could remove it and take it off, and that bracket would remain on the truck. The nice thing about hydronic is you can kind of mount it in a certain position. It's not too specific, so I made it so that I could easily cut into the lines on the driver's side and splice that in. And then I just had a closed loop. Right now with the water pump circulating, you do have to figure out which direction your water pump on your engine flows so that when you start your engine, you're not forcing water the same direction and hitting each other. Everything is moving in the same direction. That's the only tricky part that I kind of had to figure out, but you can hear the pump whine with the truck started and it going because it's trying to push against your truck's water pump. Alright guys, fuel line's coming up over the axle. I tried to keep it inside the frame rail just to keep a little more protection. I still have some zip tying and securing and anti-chafing to do. We've got pump 15 degrees uphill. Right next to that is the water pump. It's going in line. I'm lucky enough that the bus had rear heater lines all the way down here, so I've just spliced into there, although I'm contemplating trusting the manual, and I feel like this may be flowing backwards to how my truck is set up, so we'll see. But the pump is running. Sounds like it's got fluid right now, and I need to obviously put some O-ring or something for the fuel line that goes through there. Fuel line is kicking on, you can hear it. So that was an easy fix. Switch the lines and away we go. Other than that, this is all part of the same time I was trying to convert everything to that hard 2 mil plastic fuel line instead of the green softer stuff. And so we got all that switched out. The fuel cell that we talked about in the other video has 2 pickups, and so both of those got tapped in. Each heater has its own separate line, which adds a little bit of redundancy. And then on top of everything, I'm going to add in an inline heater as well. Basically a small little heater core with a fan. I'm going to wire it into the same switches that the bus had for the rear heater. So we are going to get engine coolant heated up. So when it's beautifully cold out like it is now, the engine coolant will start circulating. Now the diesel heater I got seems to be stuck at like 40 minutes, which is enough time to preheat so far the bus in well below negative temperatures. In fact, when I turn the key to let the glow plug cycle for a second, the heat is already showing well above cold. It's at that quarter mark, so it's already starting to warm up. Everything defrosts super quick, and at the same time I'm going to be making hot water. Once we get that hot water put in, it's from Heatso. That video will be coming. I'm actually starting the installation this week, as well as the heat core. So alternative heat coming from the back. So when the truck is running, or I'm running the diesel hydronic heater, we're going to have rear heat coming to the back without having to run the air heater, and then probably use the air heater when we are just parked and stationary. All coming off the same tank. So everything was pretty easy to put in, pretty intuitive. A lot of the parts, just like the air heaters, will, I guess, reverse compatibility with the nicer version. So if I have trouble and I need a Webasto water pump to circulate a Webasto, hydronic heater, I could probably find one of those. That sort of stuff you could easily find on Amazon. Just the heater itself, I had to go to AliExpress. Well, you guys are quite a few feet away, but if I'm quiet for a second, you should be able to hear the diesel hydronic Chinese diesel heater that is effectively preheating the coolant, and the small water pump is running that through the motor so that the bus is pre-warmed. So I've located the hydronic heater just behind the driver's area here, just kind of behind this condenser skirt for the AC. As you can see, is right after it started, I'm already above the cold line. So we're gonna be making hot air and getting this window defrosted here pretty quick. And that sums it up. That's pretty much my goal, is to be in the middle of nowhere and be able to warm up that engine without having to plug it in. Now, letting you guys know, the diesel that came, the 7.3 that's on the bus, has an immersion heater. It's a small little coil that you plug into 110. I did a video on that before where I said in an emergency I could run an extension cord out to the front of the truck and use my lithium battery supply. In fact, I'll put that video up there as well. But I wanted something passive. I wanted to be able to, again, heat water, make hot water for the sink and the shower and stuff like that. And so this is that next step, that next evolution in keeping everyone warm and safe, creating redundancies in a heating solution, because oftentimes we are out here when it is 6 degrees out. And man, again, Chinese diesel heater for the win. This thing runs, probably a couple times a week I use it throughout the winter. And it's just performing fantastically. So I don't have any qualms that it won't fire up for me when I'm out in the middle of nowhere to help preheat everything. Now, a little side note, if you truly want to prepare your engine for cold weather, you want to go do the Alcan Highway up to the Yukon in the winter, I would probably look into an oil heater as well. Honestly, just one of the silicone pads you put on your oil pan. The oil pans kind of stick out underneath your engine. They're exposed to a lot of cold. So even though this is heating up the core and most of the block, it's not really heating up your oil. And so when you go to start your truck, if you're going to rely on this a lot, if you're going to be in super cold temperatures, I would still get some sort of an oil heater. In fact, you could probably use some of the little silicone pads that I've got, like for the battery. There are some 12-volt versions out there. We may look at that. I may also be looking at something to heat the diesel tank. as I don't really have anything other than the stock engine heater. But as far as cold weather temperatures go, it's pretty good. As long as you're not doing this on a daily basis, I think the oil will kind of heat up quickly. It will start flowing. You can run a lower weight oil to help in the winter. But beyond that, I've been super happy with all of its performance. This is kind of just the first step. The last year, seeing if the thing was even worth it, if it would work, and it worked flawlessly. So now we're going on that next evolution. We're going to start adding a hot water tank. We're going to add a heater core to the back, and we're going to be using this thing a lot more. It does come with a remote, so you can kind of remote start it. I haven't really used that too much. You can play around with some of the weird settings, but again, most of these Chinese heaters don't come with great instructions. I have figured out a way to increase the temperature, but it won't remember it. Or excuse me, not temperature, but the time. So it's stuck on that 40 minutes. It runs for 40 minutes. That seems to be enough. If I need extra, I'll run it a second time, but you can go in there and move it around. There's just not great instructions for this stuff. So far, I'm really happy with it. So stay tuned, guys. This is not the end. This is kind of the beginning of how all this is going to work into creating an even better adventure bus for our family out here in the winter as it's trying to snow on me again. Thanks for watching. We'll see you down the road. Stay warm, guys.
Thanks for all the love and support. You guys are amazing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow the adventure on social media, and we'll see you on the road.